Terror and heartbreak in Orlando.
My son was at the nightclub with his boyfriend and other friends. And I know that his boyfriend has been shot multiple times.
From Florida to Tennessee and across the country, the nation is coming to grips with the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history.
But today is a dark day.
We pray for their families who are grasping for answers with broken hearts. We stand with the people of Orlando who have endured a terrible attack on their city.
Tonight, what we know about the massacre inside that Orlando nightclub, what we're learning about the victims and the gunman, and how people in our area are paying tribute to the lives lost and those who survived. WBIR 10 News at 6 starts now.
Good evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Robin Wilhoit.
And I'm John Becker. We begin with a staggering toll of dead and injured after that attack at a gay nightclub in Orlando. At the moment, authorities say 50 killed and 54 injured. Already, those grim figures make this the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history. Authorities caution the number of dead could climb even higher. President Obama calling this an act of terror and hate. He ordered flags at half-staff to honor the victims.
The lone shooting suspect was killed by police. Authorities say 29-year-old Omar Mateen was a husband and a father of a 3-year-old. Investigators say the Florida man had a job as a security officer and carried out the attack armed with a semi-style automatic rifle purchased legally in the last week. We go to Jay Gray for the latest now.
What's going on here right now? You can see the sign behind me here, that's the Pulse nightclub. Still an active crime scene right now, less than 24 hours after the deadliest mass shooting ever in the United States. Across the street in the yellow tent here, that's a makeshift morgue at this point as investigators continue their work here.
Oh my God, people are getting shot, dude.
Chaos during what witnesses describe as a slaughter.
Just bang, bang, screaming and loud noise, and the other guy next to me was shot.
50 people murdered, more than 50 more wounded during an overnight killing spree at the Pulse nightclub.
I thought I was gonna die. I didn't know if I was gonna come out alive.
Dozens were held hostage for 3 hours or more inside the club until a SWAT team moved in. The suspect killed during a shootout with police. Investigators say 29-year-old Omar Mateen was the triggerman, described by federal agents as a domestic terrorist. And we now know he was questioned in 2013 and again in 2014 by the FBI over possible terrorist ties.
It has been reported that Mateen made calls to 911 this morning in which he stated his allegiance to the leader of the Islamic State.
We're also told he mentioned the Boston Marathon bombing during that call just before the attack. As the investigation continues at this popular gay nightclub, Mateen's family tells NBC News he may have carried out the most deadly mass killing in U.S. history, outraged after seeing 2 men kiss in Miami weeks earlier. As police and federal agents scramble to find out how and why it happened, they must now also begin the grisly task of identifying the victims.
And Love, Pulse remains an active crime scene, and law enforcement is working the scene as efficiently and as diligently as they possibly can, while also being respectful of the remains of the deceased.
The club also serving as an agonizing reminder.
Attacks on any American, regardless of race, ethnicity, religion, or sexual orientation, is an attack on all of us.
A staggering blow to a city and nation now mourning so many lost. Yeah, federal agents say that Mateen was armed with a handgun and assault rifle that he apparently purchased legally just a few days before the attack. That's the latest live here in Orlando. Now back to you.
Well, the shooting has been a shock to everyone today, especially members of the Tennessee Valley Unitarian Universalist Church, where a tragic shooting happened there in 2008.
Today, they adapted their church service, focusing on songs of love and support and a message of overcoming violence and hatred. WBIR 10 News reporter Madison Wade joins us live in downtown Knoxville. She's at Crouch Park tonight with that story and the plans of a developing candlelight vigil there tonight. Madison?
Robin, John, the gathering will be here tonight at 8 o'clock at Crouch Park. Everyone is welcome to come, and people all over Knoxville have been showing their support today for Orlando victims, including the congregation at the Tennessee Valley Unitarian Universalist Church. They showed their support today in a very unique way.
Through song, strength can be found at the Tennessee Valley Unitarian Universalist Church Sunday. A service already dedicated to song and prayer quickly turned into reflection as the congregation remembered the many lives lost just hours before in Orlando.
But today is a dark day.
One woman laid sage and a pride flag at the altar. She says it's the least she could do.
That's just my way of honoring not only those people who died today, and not only other gay people, but people who are killed by other people. We're here to learn to love. And when people have the need to hurt other people, it's because they don't know how to love.
We shall overcome.
Reverend Chris Bice has seen tragedy firsthand when a gunman walked into this church, shotgun in a guitar case, and took the lives of 2 people in 2008.
All of us feel a connection to issues of human liberation, gay rights, and so this is not just a tragedy, a personal tragedy, a devastating thing, but it's important for us to maintain courage and conviction as we stand up for the worth and dignity of every person.
That's why they're making music a symbol of peace again for this church.
And the verse that's very important today is, "We are not afraid," and we are not afraid. We may be scared, but it's a scaredness that gives way to fearlessness.
The song of the day, "We Shall Overcome," is striking a chord with the congregation on this chaotic day.
It's like, how long must we keep overcoming? Come on, it's time. You know, I mean, there's still so much that needs to be done and still so much violence. I guess we're tired of singing, "We shall overcome." It's like we overcome every day, and let's move it forward faster.
So they'll continue to sing loud, embracing one another to show strength, even when the world may seem weak.
Pastor Chris Bice is also expected to attend the gathering here tonight at Crouch Park at 8. He's also been talking to the pastor in Orlando at the Unitarian Church there, sharing sermons and prayer service as well. And joining me now is Kendall Morris. Kendall, you'll be attending this gathering here tonight. You also went to a service earlier today.
Yeah, that's right, Madison. Now, Knoxville Pride Fest, it is less than a week away, and earlier this afternoon, members and allies of the Knoxville LGBT community gathered for an interfaith Pride service. Now, this service is an annual event leading up to Pride Fest, but today it had a different sort of purpose. People from all faiths and backgrounds came together. They worshiped through prayer and song, but the group took special time to remember the lives lost in the Orlando shooting. The theme of Pride Fest this year is Love Won, but many say after the shooting, it's hard to believe those words.
It is hard to see that love wins. There's so much perseverance and courage that I talked about our community display, but these kinds of things just wrench our hearts into pain.
Now, members of the LGBT community say it is important to support each other, especially through this difficult time. There are events all week long leading up to Knoxville Pride Fest. And again, there will be a candlelight vigil held tonight here at Crouch Park. That starts at 8. We will make sure to bring you that service tonight on the Night Beat. Robin and John will send things back to you.
Kendall, Madison, thank you for your reports.
A local FBI agent says investigators in Florida will take as long as they need to make sure they're covering everything in this case.
WBIR 10 News reporter Brittany Bade explains how that process will play out.
As the nation is reeling from the loss of 50 innocent lives, many are left asking why.
We want to understand why, because that helps to determine how we can minimize those risks in the future and maybe prevent these things from happening.
Marshall Stone, a FBI supervisory special agent based in Tennessee, explains how investigators will look into the deadliest shooting in American history, an attack where the shooter was influenced by radical Islamic terrorism.
We're learning in what ways they're radicalized and what motivates them so that we can try to combat those systems, whether it's social media or otherwise, that is causing people to pick up a cause and run with it.
Look at that, just shooting back and forth.
A major part of the investigation will come from those who were inside the club at the time of the shooting and survived.
After determining that the immediate threat is over, agencies want to know, are there any additional threats that might need to be addressed? And was anyone else involved in the incident that we need to know about?
The FBI says each time this happens, a lesson is learned on how to stop it.
The incidents over the past few years have made people more aware and more willing to be observant and report things that they deem to be suspicious, and it makes people maybe better prepared to respond themselves when something like this happens so that they know how to minimize damage.
A country with a common goal: to stop scenes like this from becoming something we're used to. Brittany Bade, WBIR 10 News.
And almost immediately after news of the Orlando shooting took place, people took to Twitter and social media to share their support and love for that city.
Some of those tweets include one from Knoxville Mayor Madeline O'Hara. She tweeted, "Thoughts and prayers to the victims, families, and all people of Orlando. Horrifying and heartbreaking."
Knox County Mayor Tim Burchett said this: 50 people lost their lives in Orlando. Can't we unify in prayer for all the folks involved? I'm sure the politics will take care of itself.
And from About Knoxville, thoughts and prayers to the victims of Orlando horror, their families, first responders, and medical personnel. Now, we invite you to join the discussion using the hashtag #PrayForOrlando. Now, officials say today's tragedy at Orlando, at that nightclub, as they've said over and over, it is the worst mass shooting in our nation's history.
It's a heartbreaking distinction gained by the loss of countless lives. April 16th, 2007, Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, Virginia. One student launched 2 separate attacks on that college campus. 32 people died, 17 others were hurt before the gunman took his own life. December 14th, 2012, Newtown, Connecticut. Authorities say a gunman killed his mother and then went to a local school. At Sandy Hook Elementary, he took the lives of 20 children, all 7 years old or younger. 6 members of the staff were also killed before the shooter took his own life. October 16th, 1991.
The man jumped out of his truck and started firing his weapon.
23 dead, 27 injured at a restaurant in Texas. The gunman crashed through the door of the building and started shooting. He also took his own life. July 16th of last year, closer to home in Chattanooga.
The shooter exited his vehicle armed with an assault rifle, a handgun, and numerous magazines of ammunition.
4 Marines were killed during 2 separate attacks at a recruiting center and a U.S. Navy Reserve Center. A Navy officer later died from his injuries. The gunman was shot and killed by police. And again on July 18th, 1984, 21 adults and children were killed at a McDonald's in the San Diego area of California.
In President Obama's 8 years in office, he has addressed the nation now 15 times following mass shootings in our country.
We hope you stay with 10 News and WBIR.com for the very latest on that developing story in Florida.
You can also follow us on social media for new information throughout the evening.
And after this broadcast, NBC's Lester Holt is in Orlando. He's there live for a special edition of Nightly News that begins at 6:30.
And we will also have a special edition of Dateline tonight. Terror in Orlando begins at 7 o'clock, and a full recap tonight on the Night Beat. Still ahead on 10 News, how others in East Tennessee are doing their part to help.
Also, we're going to look at the work week ahead. Your forecast coming up.